There are people who walk into a room and understand everything before a single word is spoken. They don't interrupt. They don't rush to judge. They watch. They notice the hesitation behind confidence, the insecurity hidden inside charm, the resentment disguised as kindness. While others speak to be seen, these minds remain silent to see clearly. And that is precisely why they are dangerous to misunderstand. Nietzsche warned that most people reveal themselves not through what they say, but through what they need others to believe about them. If you have ever felt that you see through people faster than they expect, if you sense motives before actions, tension before conflict, masks before faces, this video is not here to flatter you. It is here to explain the cost of that awareness and the power that comes with mastering it. Before we go deeper, take a moment. If you value clarity over noise, depth over performance, and psychological truth over comfort, subscribe to this channel. Not for constant stimulation, but for rare insight. This is not content for everyone. It's for those who are ready to see. Powerful minds do not read people by asking questions or demanding explanations. They read by observing what escapes control. Nietzsche understood this long before psychology had names for it. He believed that every human being is constantly leaking truth through posture, timing, tone, contradiction, and desire. Words are rehearsed. Behavior is trained. But instinct betrays itself. And those who see this are often misunderstood as cold, distant, or arrogant, when in reality, they are simply attentive. The first truth Nietzsche warned about is that most people are not conscious actors. They are reactions. They do not choose their values. They inherit them. They do not speak from conviction. They echo what keeps them safe. And because of this, they are readable to anyone patient enough to watch without interfering. A powerful mind never rushes interaction. It allows others to fill the silence, because silence creates pressure. Under pressure, the mask slips. People reveal what they want to hide by over-explaining, justifying, choking, or becoming defensive. Nietzsche believed that self-defense is one of the clearest signals of weakness. Not moral weakness, but psychological fragility. When someone cannot tolerate being misunderstood, it means their identity depends on external approval. This dependency becomes visible the moment they are questioned, ignored, or challenged indirectly. Powerful minds do not confront. They let people expose themselves voluntarily. Another warning Nietzsche gave was about moral language. People often speak in moral terms, not because they are virtuous, but because they want leverage. When someone constantly emphasizes fairness, loyalty, or kindness, observe what they are protecting. Morality is frequently a disguise for resentment. It is used to control others emotionally while avoiding direct responsibility. The intelligent observer does not argue with moral statements. They watch who benefits from them. This single shift in perception changes how you see nearly every social interaction. Powerful minds also recognize the difference between confidence and certainty. Confidence seeks validation. Certainty does not. The loudest voice in the room is almost never the strongest. Nietzsche saw noise as compensation. Those who truly know themselves do not need to dominate attention. They move slowly. They choose words carefully. They are economical with emotion. This restraint unsettles people because it removes predictable feedback. Humans crave mirrors. When you do not reflect them back immediately, they become anxious. And anxiety reveals hierarchy. Whoever needs reassurance is already below the one who withholds it. Another psychological truth Nietzsche exposed is that people reveal their values through what they envy, not what they praise. Praise is often strategic. Envy is honest. When someone dismisses or mocks a trait, lifestyle, or success, look closer. Contempt usually hides desire. Powerful minds listen for irritation, disguised as humor, sarcasm masked as advice, and criticism framed as concern. These are not random behaviors. They are emotional leaks, and once you see them, you cannot unsee them. Nietzsche also warned that people fear being seen more than being judged. Judgment can be argued against. Being seen cannot. This is why many people prefer conflict over silence. Conflict keeps the interaction on the surface. Silence invites exposure. A powerful observer understands that withdrawal often provokes more revelation than engagement. When you step back, people project. They assume motives. They narrate stories. And in doing so, they reveal their own internal world. The first chapter of reading people is not about technique. It is about discipline. The discipline to resist reacting. The discipline to tolerate discomfort. The discipline to let others show you who they are without interference. Nietzsche believed that most people sabotage their own power by speaking too soon. Speech relieves tension. Observation builds leverage. When you understand this, you stop trying to be understood and start understanding. And that shift changes everything. This level of perception requires emotional neutrality. Not coldness, but control. Nietzsche warned that empathy without boundaries blinds intelligence. When you feel too much, you miss structure. When you personalize behavior, you stop seeing patterns. Powerful minds feel, but they do not drown in feeling. They stand slightly apart from the emotional current, enough to notice direction and force. This distance is often mistaken for lack of care, but it is actually respect for reality. To see clearly, you must resist emotional entanglement. Another truth is that consistency is rare. People believe they are consistent because they repeat stories about themselves. But behavior tells a different story. Watch how someone treats those who cannot benefit them. Watch how they behave when no one is watching. Watch how quickly their principles bend under inconvenience. Nietzsche believed that character is revealed under friction, not comfort. Powerful minds create no friction themselves. They simply wait for life to apply it. Powerful readers of people also understand timing. They notice when someone speaks too quickly or too late. Urgency often hides insecurity. Delay often hides calculation. Neither is wrong, but both are informative. Nietzsche observed that humans reveal hierarchy through rhythm. Who interrupts? Who waits? Who adapts? Who insists? These micro-behaviors form an unspoken map of dominance and submission. Once you see the map, interactions become predictable. Another warning Nietzsche offered was about identity language. When people constantly declare who they are, it is often because they are uncertain. The need to announce strength, intelligence, independence, or kindness usually points to a fragile self-concept. Powerful minds let others define them incorrectly if needed. They understand that clarity emerges over time. Immediate correction is a sign of insecurity, not strength. Finally, Nietzsche believed that the greatest mistake intelligent people make is revealing how much they see. Insight should be silent. Observation should be invisible. The moment you show people you understand them, they either defend, attack, or attempt to manipulate you. True power lies in remaining unreadable while reading everything. This is not manipulation. It is self-protection. And those who master it move through the world untouched, not because they are cruel, but because they are awake. Awareness without exhibition preserves freedom, clarity, and control in every human encounter without compromise. Always, Nietzsche warned that once you learn to read people, the greatest danger is not deception from others, but corruption within yourself. Power of perception can easily turn into superiority, and superiority into blindness. The second layer of reading people is therefore not external. It is internal restraint. Powerful minds do not just observe others. They constantly audit themselves. Because the moment observation becomes judgment, clarity collapses. Nietzsche believed that the observer must remain fluid, not fixed. Fixed identities distort perception. The person who thinks, "I am intelligent," stops learning. The person who thinks I see everything misses what contradicts them. One of Nietzsche's sharpest warnings was about resentment masquerading as insight. Many people believe they are perceptive when they are simply bitter. They interpret behavior through injury instead of awareness. A powerful mind knows the difference. Resentment narrows vision. Awareness expands it. If your reading of people always ends in contempt, you are not seeing clearly. You are defending yourself. True perception feels neutral, almost quiet. It does not need to humiliate others to feel valid. Another psychological truth Nietzsche revealed is that people reveal themselves most when they think they are teaching you. Advice is rarely about helping. It is about positioning. When someone gives unsolicited advice, they are often asserting hierarchy. They are telling you where they believe they stand in relation to you. The powerful observer does not reject advice emotionally. They receive it calmly and note the underlying motive. Is it generosity? Control? Validation? Fear? Advice exposes inner structure more reliably than confession. Nietzsche also spoke about contradiction as a doorway to truth. Humans are inconsistent, but they hate being seen as such. When someone contradicts themselves, watch how they respond. Do they laugh it off? Do they become aggressive? Do they rationalize? Do they deny? The reaction to contradiction reveals more than the contradiction itself. A secure mind adapts. An insecure mind defends. A manipulative mind reframes. Each response exposes the architecture beneath the persona. Powerful minds understand that emotion is information, not instruction. Most people feel and act immediately. This immediacy makes them readable. Anger shows where boundaries are weak. Anxiety shows where attachment exists. Excitement shows where desire overrides judgment. Nietzsche believed that mastery begins when emotion is observed before it is obeyed. The person who can pause between feeling and action becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability is power, not because it intimidates, but because it cannot be exploited. Another warning Nietzsche gave concerns victim narratives. People who frame themselves as perpetual victims are often unconsciously seeking control. Victimhood attracts sympathy, loyalty, and moral leverage. Powerful minds do not dismiss suffering, but they notice patterns. Who always has a reason? Who is never responsible? Who externalizes every failure? These patterns indicate a refusal to grow. Nietzsche believed that growth requires confrontation with one's own shadow. Those who avoid this hide behind stories that protect their self-image. Nietzsche also observed that most people fear emptiness more than pain. Pain at least is identity. Emptiness forces self-confrontation. This is why many choose chaotic relationships over solitude. They prefer intensity to clarity. A powerful mind notices who creates drama when life becomes calm. Restlessness often hides avoidance. The observer does not rescue such people. Rescue interrupts revelation. Letting people sit with their discomfort teaches you more than any question ever could. Another psychological truth is revealed through loyalty. Watch who people defend when they are absent. That is where allegiance lives. Public loyalty is performance. Private loyalty is structure. Nietzsche warned that betrayal rarely arrives suddenly. It leaks slowly through jokes, omissions, and rationalizations. Powerful minds pay attention to what is minimized. Dismissal is often rehearsal for abandonment. Powerful perception also involves understanding power hunger. Some people crave control, not because they want dominance, but because they fear vulnerability. Control is their armor. They manage others' emotions, schedules, narratives. They ask many questions, but reveal little. Nietzsche believed that such individuals are terrified of being seen. The powerful observer does not challenge them directly. That would provoke escalation. Instead, they limit access. They become boring, unavailable, unresponsive. Power starves without reaction. Nietzsche warned that flattery is one of the most dangerous poisons for intelligent minds. Praise can weaken vigilance. When someone flatters excessively, they are often testing influence. Powerful minds receive praise the same way they receive criticism, calmly. Neither alters self-perception. This emotional neutrality protects clarity. The moment your self-image depends on feedback, you become readable and therefore controllable. Another truth lies in impatience. Watch who rushes outcomes, who needs decisions now, who demands answers. Urgency often hides fear of losing control. The powerful observer does not mirror urgency. They slow down. Slowness frustrates manipulators. It exposes intention. Nietzsche believed that time is a psychological weapon. Those who can wait often win without fighting. Finally, Nietzsche cautioned that the deepest truths about people are rarely dramatic. They are subtle, repetitive, almost boring. Power is not found in grand revelations, but in patterns. The way someone consistently treats waiters, subordinates, strangers. The way they speak about those who are not present. The way they handle small disappointments. These details form character. Powerful minds train themselves to notice the small things, because the small things never lie. By the end of this chapter, the reader of People understands something unsettling. Most humans are not hiding secrets. They are performing habits. And habits, once observed without emotion, become transparent. This realization does not make you cruel. It makes you careful. And care, when guided by clarity, becomes quiet power that shapes every interaction without force, drama, or the need to ever explain yourself again. Nietzsche believed that the final and most dangerous stage of psychological insight is not learning how to read others, but learning when not to read them at all. Power does not grow endlessly. It refines itself through restraint. The mind that observes everything without discrimination eventually drowns in noise. True mastery lies in selective attention. Powerful minds choose what deserves analysis and what must be ignored. Indifference, when conscious, is not weakness. It is protection. One of Nietzsche's darkest psychological warnings was this: understanding people does not obligate you to engage with them. Many intelligent individuals fall into the trap of over-involvement. They see motives, patterns, wounds, and feel compelled to respond, explain, or correct. This impulse is rooted in ego, not wisdom. The desire to be understood, or to understand others fully, is often a disguised need for validation. The powerful mind resists this urge. It knows that clarity does not require participation. Nietzsche observed that people reveal their deepest nature when they are denied access. Boundaries provoke truth. When you stop explaining yourself, stop over-communicating, stop filling silence, others begin to project. And projection is confession. The stories people invent about you when you withdraw reveal their own inner state. Some feel abandoned. Some feel threatened. Some feel exposed. Each reaction is a mirror. The powerful observer watches without correcting the reflection. Another crucial truth Nietzsche warned about is the danger of becoming a psychological mirror for everyone. When people feel seen by you, they may attach. Attachment turns perception into obligation. Obligation erodes freedom. The observer must remain sovereign. This does not mean coldness. It means distance with dignity. Powerful minds allow others to exist without trying to fix, save, or decipher them completely. Not every puzzle deserves to be solved. Nietzsche also understood that morality is often used as camouflage. Many people hide power drives behind virtue. They speak of fairness, kindness, and justice, while seeking dominance, approval, or control. The powerful observer listens less to declared values and more to behavior under pressure. Stress strips morality of decoration. Who becomes cruel when challenged? Who becomes passive? Who becomes righteous? Crisis reveals hierarchy of values faster than philosophy ever could. Another warning concerns curiosity itself. Excessive curiosity about others can become a form of escape. Studying people is safer than confronting oneself. Nietzsche believed that self-confrontation is the hardest task. That is why many become analysts of humanity while avoiding their own contradictions. The powerful mind regularly turns perception inward. It asks uncomfortable questions. Why does this behavior irritate me? Why does this person trigger me? What am I protecting? These questions prevent insight from becoming arrogance. Nietzsche also wrote about masks, but not as lies. Masks are survival strategies. Most people are not pretending maliciously. They are adapting. When you understand this, contempt fades. You stop expecting authenticity from those who are still afraid of themselves. This understanding creates emotional distance without hatred. Powerful minds do not demand truth from those who are not ready to face it. They simply adjust proximity. One of the most unsettling truths Nietzsche shared is that most people do not want to be understood. They want to be affirmed. When understanding threatens identity, it is rejected. This is why confrontation rarely leads to growth. The powerful observer avoids unnecessary confrontation. They know that forcing awareness creates resistance. Silence allows insight to arise naturally, or not at all. Both outcomes are acceptable. Nietzsche warned against the temptation to expose. Seeing through people can create a desire to reveal them. This urge is destructive. Exposure is often driven by resentment or superiority. Powerful minds do not unmask others publicly. They simply reposition themselves privately. They let behavior speak. They let time erode illusions. This approach preserves energy and avoids unnecessary enemies. Another psychological truth lies in withdrawal. When you stop reacting, stop chasing, stop explaining, power dynamics shift. Some people escalate, some retreat, some collapse. These responses are diagnostic. The powerful observer does not celebrate this. They note it. Knowledge is not ammunition. It is orientation. It tells you where to stand, not whom to attack. Nietzsche believed that the highest form of strength is self-possession. A mind that cannot be provoked, rushed, flattered, or shamed becomes ungovernable. This is why emotional neutrality is misunderstood as coldness. In reality, it is freedom. The person who no longer needs to be liked, understood, or validated becomes impossible to manipulate. Finally, Nietzsche warned that solitude is not optional for powerful minds. Insight isolates. Not because others are inferior, but because depth requires silence. Most people live at the surface of themselves. Those who dive deeper must accept distance. This distance is not loneliness. It is clarity without interference. By the end of this chapter, one truth becomes unavoidable. Reading people is not about control. It is about alignment. You see where you belong and where you do not. You conserve energy. You choose silence over explanation. You choose distance over drama. You stop trying to win interactions and start designing your life. This is not domination. It is self-ownership. And once achieved, nothing external can take it from you again. Nietzsche believed the final stage of psychological power is not dominance over others, but sovereignty over oneself. After all observation, all decoding, all silent reading of human behavior, one realization remains. The most dangerous mind is the one that no longer needs to prove it understands. Knowledge matures into restraint. Awareness becomes quiet, and control shifts inward. At this stage, the powerful mind stops chasing clarity from people who cannot give it. It no longer seeks confirmation, apology, or recognition. It understands that most confusion in life is not caused by lack of intelligence, but by emotional attachment. Attachment distorts perception. It bends truth into comfort. The disciplined observer releases attachment and sees reality as it is, not as it should be. Nietzsche warned that insight without discipline becomes poison. Seeing through illusions while still craving acceptance creates inner fracture. That is why many intelligent individuals feel restless, irritated, or lonely. They see too much, but still expect too much. The final transformation occurs when expectation dies. When you no longer expect people to act consciously, fairly, or deeply, peace enters. Not indifference, but acceptance without surrender. True psychological power is quiet because it does not need reaction. It does not correct every misunderstanding. It does not expose every lie. It does not explain itself to those who have already decided who you are. The powerful mind recognizes that explanation is often submission disguised as clarity. Silence preserves autonomy. Distance preserves dignity. Nietzsche understood that most human conflict is born from the need to be seen. When this need dissolves, conflict loses fuel. You stop competing for attention. You stop defending your image. You stop reacting to provocations meant to extract emotion. In doing so, you become unreadable to manipulators. Calm becomes armor. At this level, compassion changes shape. You no longer try to save others from themselves. You see suffering without trying to fix it. You understand that awareness cannot be gifted. It must be earned through pain, reflection, and solitude. This realization removes arrogance from intelligence. You do not feel superior. You feel separate. And separation brings clarity. Nietzsche also warned that power attracts projection. The calmer you become, the more others will assign meaning to your silence. Some will call it arrogance. Some will call it coldness. Some will feel judged without being judged at all. These projections are not your responsibility. The powerful mind does not manage other people's interpretations. It allows them. Another final truth emerges here. You cannot live deeply and be widely understood. Depth demands slowness. Most of the world moves fast to avoid itself. When you slow down, you exit the rhythm of the crowd. This is why powerful minds often feel out of place. They are not lost. They are simply no longer synchronized with superficial urgency. Nietzsche believed that the highest form of reading people is knowing when to walk away. Not from conflict alone, but from environments that dull perception, conversations that drain energy, and relationships that require self-betrayal. Walking away is not failure. It is refinement. At this stage, you stop measuring success by influence over others. You measure it by coherence within yourself. Are your actions aligned with your values? Does your silence protect your energy? Does your solitude strengthen your clarity? These become the metrics of power. The world will not reward this immediately. Quiet power is rarely celebrated. It is often misunderstood, ignored, or resisted. But it endures. Loud dominance fades. Subtle sovereignty remains. Nietzsche did not promise comfort to those who awaken. He promised truth. And truth often costs connection before it grants peace. But the peace that follows is not fragile. It does not depend on praise, agreement, or validation. It comes from knowing who you are, what you tolerate, and what you will never again accept. When you reach this point, reading people becomes secondary. You already know enough. You recognize patterns instantly. You trust your perception. You do not argue with reality. You move accordingly. This is the final warning and the final gift. Do not use insight to control. Use it to choose. Choose distance. Choose silence. Choose alignment. Choose yourself. And when you do, you will notice something subtle and irreversible. The world no longer pulls you. You move through it calmly, deliberately, untouched by noise. That is not power over others. That is freedom. If this message resonated, stay with this path. Subscribe quietly. No urgency, no pressure. Just depth, clarity, and self-mastery.